Hey, GERO 508. It's Sunday, July 23rd, and we're here.
We're gonna do music.
We're gonna
Awesome.
talk about music,
All right.
and like I said, we've gotten to the fun part of the course where things make sense, and you can understand the meaning of these interventions because it's stuff that you've experienced yourself. So I think that's what makes it enjoyable for
Right.
most people.
And stuff that you can again apply to your lives and apply to your future practice, whatever it is, your professional life. And I've had a discussion with a couple of the students about this, Jim, and in particular, and just how what you guys are doing with your pamphlets is something that you can then use to market your existing business or as a slide deck promotional for your when you're interviewing for a job. So updates on us, like, I probably shouldn't be doing it, there I am, but there it is, baby. So, it's working, it's not hurting. I actually had a nice email dialogue with Solomon, and he's gone through the same thing that I have gone through, but Solomon just got cleared, so he's back in the game. So congratulations to Solomon, and I told everybody we'd update you on them on yours. And so, what's happening with your red blood cells? Are they coming back?
Yeah, I'm making a comeback.
Making a
Yeah.
comeback?
So that the nice thing about my situation is that you can tell very easily what's going on by just running a really simple blood
Yeah.
test. So I get blood work done pretty frequently, and we're just starting to see a response to the treatment, which is very exciting. My hemoglobin is going up, so I'm a little more skippy than I was. The other day I did laundry all day and I was excited.
We actually went for a walk today, 2.5 miles.
Yeah, so I'm back walking again, and we'll be talking about
that's good.
exercise this week as well,
That's good.
and how important it is.
Yeah.
So,
They did a screen for the biologists out there. You know how we did a screen for COVID, where we did. You always heard that thing, RT-PCR. It's a reverse transcription polymerase chain reaction. Well, they do that, but on rocket fuel. Okay, and it's called next generation high throughput analysis, where they can do lots and lots of genes. We're worried. Oh no, she may have new mutations that could be more aggressive, but it's good news, bad news. It's good news. It's not new mutation. Bad news. It's the same old mutation she had before.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with the old stuff. So
it just showed that the cancer cell was just hiding. We didn't get it all, and that's why it made it come back. So.
Yeah, so that was actually a really good week for me, and I saw my doctor and had the good news of those test results. So we're
Awesome.
we're flying high right now.
So we've graded everything. Again, check your grade book. You'll see the comments that we've given everything. So for a couple of people needed to get a few more things in, so we'll be going back and grading theirs. Just you keep your eyes on the prize. These are the next deadlines you have on your phone, calendaring them up. About a week away, a little over a week away. We have the final that's on the 4th, and then this right here we see this is the 31st. So it's like I said, a little over a week and a half away. So awesome.
Yeah, so a week from Monday, a week from tomorrow, probably.
There you go, guys.
Yes. Okay. So let's go into the music folder.
Baby. No, there it is. Okay. Anybody that's ever taken any of my classes, I get my giant auditorium rocking, and it's just, music makes the world turn, and it's a way for all of us to, there've been studies that actually, when you sit and listen to music together, or you dance together, whatever you're doing, where you're listening to the same music, that people actually have brain waves that are in sync. So everybody synchronizes. It's really, really kind of fascinating. And as Lily's going to talk about today, it dramatically increases learning. So I blast away, and then boom, I go into my hardcore lectures, and it improves the learning. So.
Yeah, so it does activate the brain and activates memories. So that's a really powerful tool. We had we have a really good friend who travels a lot, and they own a clothing company. So they just go all over the world and do all kinds of fun stuff. So we're living vicariously through them. And they went to the Neil Young concert, and she sent me a couple videos. They had amazing seats, like right up by the stage. So it was Neil Young's like 6 feet away. And it just brought me back to my childhood when my uncle had this record collection that he gave us because he was moving and he didn't want to take it with him. And it was Neil Young and Genesis and King Crimson and Steppenwolf and all these 70s type music things. But these little videos she sent of Neil Young, it was just so powerful. I had such vivid memories of listening to that music with my family and
All
with,
right.
with my uncle.
And that was a big generational divide that just happened. So there's a big bunch of you guys in the class are going, what? Who are these people?
You know what? Neil Young's like 77 and he's killing it too. So I think she sent it to me as inspiration.
But you know what? We did do once something that meets your generation for the younger members of our class. And we had friends that got us tickets. We went to go see the Jonas Brothers along with Nelly Furtado. And Nelly Furtado was just...
No, it was Demi Lovato.
Demi Lovato, that's right. Sounds fun. Sounds the same. Demi Lovato.
It was her first tour.
It was her first tour.
She killed it. She was amazing.
She was the opening act. But we had little kids. We were fourth, fifth row. And who was sitting right behind us?
The Kardashians, like the Jenner Kardashian ones.
Yeah,
like Kendall and Kylie.
The Cheetah Girls.
And they were tiny babies back then.
And guess what? Our kids
were like middle schoolers.
So we got through Demi Lovato, and then our kids who were young said, I want to go home. And so we handed off.
They didn't want to do the backstage pass. We gave it to some friends who were very excited.
Classic. Anyways, that's our story. Okay, you want to go to the PowerPoint?
Yes, let's go to the PowerPoint.
And Julie likes to do the PowerPoint. That then we'll guide you through the readings. You know how I like to go through the readings, but and the video. So everybody's got their own approach. Sure. So awesome. Okay, let's go.
Okay.
Cool.
Make that baby big.
Alrighty.
So one of the points I want to make is how interconnected a lot of the interventions that we're talking about are. So this week we're talking about music and exercise. They go very much hand in hand. Music and yoga go hand in hand. John always jokes about how when you go to yoga classes, they're listening to like whale songs in the background, but it's very soothing music. We talked about sociality. Listening to music, playing music, going to a concert. We went to an Anita Baker concert a few years ago, and every single one of us in the audience were singing the songs with Anita Baker. And we danced to one of her songs at our wedding, and so all the people around us were like, "Oh, that's so cute." And so when you're exercising, and exercising is very social, so there's all this interconnectedness. So you'll find that a lot of these interventions can be done 2 or 3 at a time, and probably you get even additional benefits to it. But this week we're talking about music in this thing.
Cool.
Okay. So one of the really, really cool things about music is the fact that it does activate so many different parts of your brain. And this is a really cool website where you can click through the different parts of the brain and see, okay, this is what activates. You know, it'll activate Broca's area because of language, and it activates the amygdala because it's kind of a decreased stress response, and so it calms the amygdala down. And one thing that's really fascinating to me, and it's also on your quiz this week, so listen up, the corpus callosum is a little fiber highway that connects the left part of your brain to the right part of your brain. And so we'll talk about the fact that people that have traumatic brain injuries can respond to music and use music as therapy to help their brains compensate for the fact that maybe one side isn't working very well, but the other side is. And so
music therapy is one of the growth regions in terms of getting a degree and working as part of the healthcare team. And so there's all kinds of masters in music therapy programs. And now every single hospital has a music therapy program to help people go through recovery for brain injury, like Julia said, but also for dealing with cancer and the depression that comes with cancer.
When I go to my dentist has a little iPad that's connected to Spotify, and they give me headphones, and they say, choose your channel, choose what music you want to listen to, because they know that it relaxes people when they go to the dentist. There have been studies that show that people who listen to music before surgery have better outcomes. So because it's reducing that stress response, so your body's going to heal better. We had a good friend who called us not, maybe a year ago, and his dad was like 91. His mom had passed away. The dad had gotten really depressed. He calls us and he says, I don't know what to do. My dad's really depressed. He won't leave the house. He's not eating. He's just not engaged. He just kind of sits there and doesn't talk. And John said, well, does he have any music that he likes? And our friend said, yes. You know what? In fact, he has this really big vinyl record collection. And I think he has an old turntable somewhere to play the records on. And he says, I'm going to go. So John said, go set that up and have him play this music, especially because it was music that was meaningful to him when he was younger. And our friend called us back a couple days later and said, it's magical. My dad is so happy. He's singing along with the music. He wanted to go out to breakfast. It really turned him around. And so his dad was able to get another year or two of good quality of life using something very simple that tapped into his memories of when he was younger.
Yeah, look at how alive the brain is. The red being more active on music in both right and left. So
yeah. So when we say that your brain lights up in response to music and your brain gets activated in response to music, we know this because we can do scans with functional MRI that shows what parts of your brain are using glucose and what parts of your brain are firing. Right. So that's kind of cool. So
if you look at something like when you're just speaking or when you're doing math or when you're doing kind of logical work, you'd see that only the left side of the brain lights up, and that's a big difference that we see right here. So
we can go to the next slide. And so this is just another little graphic that shows the different things. It highlights that the corpus callosum connects both sides of the brain. It talks about, so if you are listening to music, if you're dancing to music, if you're playing an instrument while listening to music, it's going to activate your motor centers if you're moving. It's going to activate or kind of calm down your amygdala. Your amygdala is going to be involved in your emotional response to the music. It's going to activate your sensory cortex and your auditory cortex because you're listening and you're seeing and feeling things. The hippocampus is involved in your music memories, just like my memories of my uncle and my childhood, listening to Neil Young. It's so vivid. You can hear a song that used to play on the radio when you were in the car with your dad. I know my dad had a tape of Hang On Sloopy and Janis Joplin. He used to play Janis Joplin in the car when we were kids and we would drive to go see family. And so anytime I hear Janis Joplin, I think about my dad. Visually, if you're a musician and you're reading music, that's going to activate your visual cortex. So if you're dancing or you're trying to follow another person's dance moves when you're filming those TikToks that you young people do, that's going to activate your visual cortex. So many different parts of the brain light up. And one of the really cool things about this is there's a concept in psychology called executive function. And for a lot of times, for example, if you have a person who has ADD, their executive function skills might be a little bit delayed. So executive function goes into planning and kind of being able to look at things big picture and plan ahead and things like that.
And make decisions.
And make good decision making.
Right here.
So this whole activation of the brain when you are playing, listening, dancing to music, it helps improve your executive function, which is a really good skill to have. We all need to be able to plan ahead and make decisions and kind of see big picture.
Right.
So,
and I want to highlight that nucleus comes. We've made this out to be the devil, but there's different levels of activation. Yes. The nucleus comes. I'm sorry, the amygdala. So the amygdala is part of the anger, fear, and rage center. But the amygdala can, when properly activated, just the right amount of activity and low levels of stress can be actually really, really beneficial. And so we don't have time to get into all that,
but it's important for that emotional reaction to music.
So this it's your limbic system right here, and this is your reward center right here, the accumbens. And can I just for an example of the power of this, do check out the videos that have been done, the documentary kind of type videos of Gabby Gifford. She was
Yeah, we're
a
going to talk about that.
congressman that was shot, and it really truly illustrates what it works, how it works.
Absolutely.
All right,
So I'll
cool.
go next. Okay. So this is just kind of a physiological graphic to show what happens. So if you're listening to music and it has a positive effect on your body, like boosting your ability to make antibodies, so it will strengthen your immune system. So if you feel like you're getting sick, throw on your favorite music. It can stimulate things like oxytocin. So, it's kind of that feel good love hormone. It can help improve your mood. And so, when I used to, for example, if I had a big interview when I was in school and I'm driving to the interview and I'm, stressing out about it, I would sing in my car. Or if I had an important client meeting or a big court date or when I went to go take the bar exam, I would sing in the car, and it gives you oxygen and activates your brain and improves your mood. So it's really good. We use music in terms of treating people with things like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, depression. So it's very powerful in terms of promoting good brain health. And it's also really, really good for stress management. So, I think there's a reason why we listen to the radio in our cars because if you drive LA freeways, you may find it's a little stressful. We're all driving 80 miles an hour and there's like 6 inches between each car. It can get a little crazy out here on the West Coast. So, listen to music in your car and it'll help keep you from getting frustrated with
And kind of a
the
blend
other
between
people.
this particular lecture and the next lecture, which is exercise. Um, there is a big Parkinson's disease program at the USC's Kaufman Dance Center, and they use dance, which of course is tuned in with music. They mentioned that we also have pet therapy. Hey, there she
Hi.
is. That's
Hi,
Lucy this time.
my
Okay.
queen.
Yeah. So very awesome. If you're a dancer or a music lover, and you want to get involved in this, so check those programs out.
Okay, so watch the two videos. The first video talks about how music can keep your brain healthy. Listening to new music stimulates your brain. It's like reading a new book or learning something new. Making music with other people. Both of our kids were pretty involved in music when they were growing up.
Our Sunday was in the Trojan marching band.
Yeah, he was. And so there is that. I was really surprised when he was a freshman because, you spend a lot of time going to the games and practicing and stuff like that. But I think getting outside and having to practice and play his instrument and physically exercise kind of reduced his stress levels. So he was able to manage it pretty well. You can dance, you can sing, do both. If you're having a rough time and you're at home by yourself and you're like, man, my life just is really terrible right now, you know, sing a song. Throw on your favorite song and sing and dance to it.
It gets you into the zone. A lot of professional athletes will put on their headphones and get into the zone
Absolutely.
right before they
Yeah.
need to go out because it really calibrates your brain, reduces your stress, helps you focus, all these really good things.
Absolutely. And then the second video talks about how stroke survivors can benefit from music therapy. And so they talked to Francis Collins, who used to be the director of the NIH, and he talks about all the research that's going on to study music therapy and how sometimes people have brain injuries so they can't speak, but they can sing. And this has also been the case with people who have stutters. A lot of times, people who have a stuttering speech issue can sing what they want to say. And so sometimes speech therapists will train them to kind of talk in a more melodic fashion where it's just barely singing and to get the words out. So really cool stuff. Okay. Now, the AARP report gives you kind of the highlights of what are the positive impacts, what's the power of music. It helps with memory, movement, and mood. It can improve sleep. So I'm showing a guy on the bottom of the page sleeping. It can improve your memory. Like John said, in his classes, he plays music before the class starts and he plays
In the
music in the
middle.
break to kind of wake people up.
And
It
it
can,
was really cool to see a class of 200 students, and then they first walk in, they're like, "What's going on?" By about the second or third week, I look out at the classroom, and everybody's doing this
Yeah.
in rhythm, and it's
Yeah.
really cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. So it can reduce your stress. So I think there's something magical about putting music on, and your brain is listening to the music, paying attention to the music. If it's your favorite song, you're kind of bopping out to it. So you're not focused on the things that are stressing you out or the things that are upsetting you. So it's taking up a portion of your attention away from the negative things. It can help stimulate your ability, again, executive function, thinking, reasoning, decision making. Um, and this AARP study showed that people that were engaged and involved in music said, well, I feel happier, I have a better quality of life, I'm less likely to be anxious, I'm less likely to be depressed. So that's really, really powerful in terms of, the effect. And we always see, music and social interaction. You can go to a concert like John and I did with Anita Baker, and we didn't know any of the people
Suddenly
around
we were
us.
friends with everybody.
I know. And we were older than they were, and so but they were like, hey, why are you here? Like, what do you like about her? And we said, well, we got married like 1,000 years ago. We danced to her song, and it was cool, to have that commonality with people. When I lived in Houston, we used to go to the Juneteenth festival, and it was an amazing, they don't do it anymore, it's a shame. It was this amazing annual festival to celebrate Juneteenth, and they would have the most amazing blues musicians, Johnny Lee Hooker, Albert King, just everybody you can think of was there. And we would all just in the park dance and have picnics, and it was just a really cool thing, and everybody would get along. It was awesome.
Okay,
So
Mayor says sing a song to Lucy right now.
yes. And so music is a powerful way to stimulate social interaction. So music therapy in nursing homes is I think, a really great idea. And sometimes they'll have outside musicians come in and play, or you can have people sing or something like that.
And especially if you tailor the music to your clients, okay?
Yeah, exactly. So figure out what they liked.
Right.
What was the music they liked when they were younger?
If you have a skilled nursing facility or an assisted living facility that caters mostly to people that come from China or people that come from certain parts of Latin America, then that's the kind of music you play.
Yeah, you want to play what people like. And so there's no magic to it. When our kids were little, there was this period of time where people were like, "Oh, you need to play Mozart to make your kids smart." And I kind of thought that was weird, so I didn't do it. But what they're finding now is that you just need to play music that they like. Any kind of music. If you like jazz, listen to jazz. If you like hip hop, listen to hip hop. If you like rock or whatever, listen to it.
I'm sure you've always encountered that song you hear, and all of a sudden it triggers a memory, and instantaneously for just a few seconds, you're back, 5, 10, a year ago, 6 months ago, whatever. You just like, oh, I remember when I last heard that song, blah, this, or I remember that song was important to me during this part of my life.
Yeah.
So
when my friend sent me the video of Neil Young singing the song, I couldn't get it out of my head. So like 4 hours later, I had to go listen to a song of It's the Small World from Disneyland to get it out of my head. It was like an earworm, they used to call it in the cartoons.
So for me, that was Neil Young. That was the 70s. I don't remember a whole lot because I was so high on weed the whole time. So,
I was a child then.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. Are we there? Yes. Okay, so this is the AARP report talks about this, the Global Council on Brain Health report, and it is a big, long report. But the bottom line is they just gave recommendations. This is what we think is important about music and brain health for people over 50, their caregivers, because remember how stressful it is to be a caregiver, and people with chronic health issues. So gosh, I qualify in all three categories, as do you. So we should put some music on tonight while we're cooking dinner. So the report confirms music is great if you have traumatic brain injury, cognitive diseases, stroke, dementia, Parkinson's, and recommends that communities have support for music activities. So My aunt who lives in Florida, she belongs to 2 or 3 different choirs. She lives in a senior community, and there's a lot of opportunities for her to perform and sing. And of course, during the pandemic, it was hard. And get out there with other people of like mind, which is kind of cool.
And then you ask yourself, how did it improve my immune function? Well, remember, if you reduce your stress, okay, remember the whole parasympathetic thing, okay, that's good for promoting immune function and reducing unnecessary inflammation, and then cortisol as well. So it all interconnects.
Yeah. So next time you have an injury, or next time you get a vaccine, or next time you're having surgery, listen to music before the surgery, listen to music during your recovery, and it'll help. And so this is the section of that report that talks about how music bolsters the immune system. And they did blood tests looking at cytokines, which are kind of chemical messengers in the blood. And they looked at cytokine levels, and they said, hey, if you're singing, you're boosting your cytokine levels, which may improve your immunity.
It boosts the ones that are anti-inflammatory, and targets the ones, it's not bad stuff, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
So,
just don't listen to music that reminds you of your bad ex that made you sad.
There you go.
Sometimes music can have negative connotations. So there's this TEDx video from Anita Collins that really talks up playing a musical instrument, and she talks about these functional MRIs that we showed you at the beginning, where you have the scan of the brain and it's all lit up, yellow or red, if the brain is really working there, and showing how all the different parts of the brain, the visual, auditory, motor, are all lit up when you're playing a musical instrument. And then they talk about all the benefits. So, of course, we kind of loved this when our kids were little to say, oh, they're having fun.
There goes Desi, sorry.
Bye, Desi. Right. They're having fun playing music, but it's also, think about it, if you're playing the flute or the guitar or the saxophone, it's improving your fine motor skills because you're having to do this a lot. Anything with practice, you get better, okay? So if you want to get better fine motor skills, use your fine motor skills and do it in a way that's fun, like playing music. It improves, weirdly, it improves both language and math skills somehow, probably because it improves that connection with the corpus callosum.
And it's analytics, it's very,
So there's
sequencing and everything.
Yeah, if you're a musician, you're learning how to read music, you're learning how to kind of understand rhythm and timing and things like that.
I learned all about timbre.
Yes.
Or is it timbre? I can't remember which one it is. But anyway.
It improves creativity and, again, executive function, that elusive, magical thing that happens as you get older. When you're 12, you don't have very good executive function. When you're 18, you probably may not have, well, let's put it this way. I don't want to dog 18-year-olds. But when you're 18, you do not have the executive function that you will have when you're 20, when you're 22, when you're 25. As you get older, you get this improved executive function. And that's why so often we'll see like the Tom Brady's of the world that are older playing at a very high level. The Drew Brees is my favorite, playing at a very high level, maybe when their bodies aren't quite as good anymore, but they've got that executive function going on. And when they are playing, football in the NFL, they always talk about how the field slows down for these guys. So it's fast for everyone else, and their brain is able to just see everything and scan everything and slow everything down. So music, they found, was better than other things like painting or sculpture, and better than other sports and exercise, although...
Not that you should not do those other things.
I don't know. And then we have the second video that just talks about the scientific basics of music theory, how it improves your mood. You get this dopamine release, that happy, dopamine. John always talks about dopamine. When he goes surfing, he gets a dopamine rush. During the pandemic, when we would get just sad and depressed and frustrated, we would go shop for something for the house, and we would get a rush of dopamine from buying something, even if it was something stupid like a new coffee cup or whatever, so that you get that dopamine good feeling when your brain reward centers get engaged.
And my surgeon told me I can't surf for 4 months.
So, I don't know where he's going to get his dopamine from.
I don't know either.
Maybe the dogs.
Yeah, maybe.
So probably not. So anyway, and again, when you have these patients that have chronic disease, or they're going through surgery, or they're going through something that's painful or difficult, music can help patients deal with that pain and stress of their conditions. So good video, make sure you watch it. Okay, go down.
Even better video. So
this
amazing.
is a really cool video because they show someone who's got.
Hi.
Hi, puppy. Hi, girls.
She wants her dinner.
Yeah, that's right.
Too late.
It's
too early.
not even close. It's nowhere close to dinner time, I swear.
She just wants your attention, Julie.
Yes. So anyway, the video shows this man who has really profound Alzheimer's symptoms. He's basically nonverbal, sits in the chair kind of hunched over, doesn't make eye contact.
Yeah, he's pretty much very close to end stage. He's very severe.
Very non-responsive. And they put on this is an older video, so they've got
But it's such an amazing video. It won all these awards and everything.
So they've got like an iPod with headphones.
It's about 10 years. It was 2014.
Yeah, so they put on the headphones, and he starts responding to the music. I think they're playing Cab Calloway, and that was music from his youth. And so he starts responding. He
starts singing like Cab Calloway.
Singing. He remembers the words to the song. They ask him questions, and he can answer questions, and he can engage in conversation. And so it's such an amazing, profound thing. Obviously, it's not going to last forever, but it gives this person, I think, a really good feeling. And he kind of talks about how music is love, and it's really a cool video. So please watch that video.
And as it's entitled, it makes it feel alive inside. So it lasts, depending on how far along you are in your brain disease. If you're using it for Alzheimer's, it may only last for 20 minutes after you're done, but it does give you this boost. And the more you do it, the more lucid you find that the Alzheimer's patients are. So.
Yeah. Okay, and then this is the video about Gabby Giffords. So Gabby Giffords was in Congress. She was shot in the head during a public event in Arizona.
Assassination attempt.
She was from Arizona, and she wasn't initially. She was not able to speak because the gunshot had damaged the part of her brain that was responsible for expressive speech. The left front part of the brain. So she could understand, if you spoke to her, she could understand receptively. She could understand speech that was made to her, but she couldn't respond. Now, very, very frustrating for someone who's educated and smart and on top of her game, and she's a politician, so all she does is talk. But she did very intensive speech therapy and uses music to help with her speech. And she started playing the French horn, which is a pretty difficult instrument to play. But again,
not only it was her left side, so she was also paralyzed. So you look at the early videos of Gabby Gifford, you'll see that. So it's her ability to speak, but you'll see she's paralyzed in her right hand because the pathways from this part of the movement part of the brain cross over and they control your right limb. So
she's getting the benefit of those fine motor skill enhancements from playing a musical instrument, and she's helping to rewire her brain, which is really powerful.
And the music the left side is constantly informing the right side during music, and that's the beauty of it. So, because that was intact,
Yeah. So she's made amazing progress, and she's now able to speak publicly about things, which is really great. So this was something I added just to kind of show the overlap between music and sociality, because we talked about sociality, I think, last week. And so this is just a graphic from a study that shows all the different parts of the brain that light up. And then it talks about how music activates your empathy circuits, it activates your oxytocin, it decreases your cortisol levels, your stress levels, it activates the language part of your brain, it activates the dopamine reward center. And so this is for people that are making music, that are singing together. It probably would apply to all those people at the Anita Baker concert because we were all singing the songs.
Or even if you're over at the
together.
9-0 listening to music, putting
Yes.
down a few, it's still the same.
Yes, and so that's I think a really cool overlap between music and sociality. That's okay. You good? No, I mean you are good. I wasn't asking, I was telling you. So anyway,
Here's what I was talking about.
Yes, I wanted to talk a little bit about music and exercise because one thing that we know is that a lot of elite athletes use music to improve their performance, and it's helpful for a lot of reasons. So I've got LeBron James, I've got Patrick Mahomes, I've got Josh Allen and Serena Williams. And interestingly enough, I thought it was funny when I looked into this today. The NBA has a contract with Beats. The NFL has a contract with a different headphone company, and so you get fined if you wear the wrong headphones, which is so ridiculous. But
if you wear the right ones, I bet you get a little revenue.
I don't know. But anyway, so yes. So what is the idea? The idea is that first of all, if you're wearing headphones, you don't have to listen or talk to people, so you're not distracted. You're able to focus. And then a lot of athletes would say, I would play music that reminded me of a prior time when I was successful and when I had a really good performance, and it would put me back into that mind frame. So you're gonna listening to music before a big game will allow you to reduce your stress levels, increase your focus. It also has a pretty powerful effect on your body in the sense that it improves your endurance. It can improve your aerobic performance. There's some studies that show that if you play music at a certain rate, it's helpful. There's even song lists on Spotify by Nike and by different people that study this. I personally think you should put your own song list together. I think it helps more if the music's meaningful to you. But clearly it seems to work for a lot of elite athletes to combine music and exercise. And if you're in a game and something bad happens, there's always music playing in the background. Listen to the music because that will allow your brain to reset so that you're not dwelling on whatever bad thing just happened.
And I have a couple of Spotify channels, so if you're interested, I'll send them out to you guys.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and so this was a screenshot of one of the Spotify workout pages where you can select, oh, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to run, or I'm going to do yoga, or whatever your athletic endeavor is, and just from what I've seen from the literature. When you listen to music, when you exercise, it improves your mood. Improved mood equals a better performance. Because you may enjoy what you're doing more if you're listening to music, you can work out longer, you can have better endurance. And then that magic range for the song tempo is 120 to 140 beats per minute. Then if you're in that magic range of tempo, then that's good for your stamina, your speed, your rhythm, your overall performance. And just generally music can calm you and reduce your stress. So I love the fact that we see this overlap between music and exercise. And again, it triggers memories when many years ago, I took this fitness class and we used to do triceps push-ups, and for some reason they always played this one Eurythmics song. When I hear that Eurythmics song, my body wants to just muscle memory go into the triceps push-ups position and do triceps push-ups. So I think music can also promote that kind of muscle memory automaticity that is kind of helpful.
Super important for Parkinson's therapy.
So you're not thinking about what you're doing, you're just doing it. Yeah. So kind of a cool thing.
And you can, so when you look at all the benefits that Julie talked about in this lecture, you can go back to you guys when you did your studies. Okay, actually did. We made them kind of fake studies that you did where you generated data. This is called epidemiology. All right, so they study thousands and thousands and thousands of people that either do or don't whatever type of activity Julie's been talking about, and then they go in there and they take their measures. They take psychological measures, like a lot of you guys did. Um, they also will take physiological measures. They'll look at cortisol, and you guys can predict what's going to happen. You know, long term, if we were to look at somebody longitudinally that has done this, you would predict they would probably have lower rates of diabetes, lower rates of vascular disease, lower heart problems, kidney problems, on and on and on.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely.
awesome.
Okay.
All right, she's done with her PowerPoint, and we can go back to this if you want. But again, Julia has reviewed all this stuff right here. So then you just go in there, and we always kind of tailor the prompts in this class to what it is you just learned, and then we want you guys to dial into your personal life and your future practice of music. Whatever that might be. Maybe you guys are already running a facility. Or who knows, maybe you'll be running a music therapy program someday.
All right.
All right, very cool.
Okay.
Awesome, guys. Peace, and we'll see you next time.